Hello, my beauties. Welcome. Hello, hello, hello. I made it. It's a little bit later than usual for the live today, my Sunday live, which I've been trying to keep up every Sunday. Happy to be here. And I got my lights. I literally have four, three lights set up in the room, and it's still like not super bright. Let me scooch forward. Let me scooch forward into the light. I actually do have four lights. How are you all doing in the replay? Say hello. If you're live with me right now, Eastern time, what time is it? It's 5:37. If you're here live, say hello from wherever you are in the world. Welcome, welcome. Yeah, I have four lights. I have a ceiling light, like a little spot. Got a lamp. I've got another lamp, and then I have like my sun like anti-depression lamp, which my friend gave me. Still, I'm like, there's barely, you know, how are you? Say hello in the chat. Welcome. You're coming in to my space. So I would love for you to say hello, greetings, nanu nanu, or whatever. I think I just dated myself with the nanu nanu reference. Hey, so I just came up with this theme. I opened a book that I had quite liked. It's a diary that has some prompts in it. And so I just opened to this. I'm not regularly sitting around reading Aristotle, okay? But this is the quote. We cannot change the wind, but we can adjust the sails. We cannot change the wind, but we can adjust the sails. So that, because I was like, Spirit, what should I share about? And I have all these ideas in my head, and a lot is going on. Hey, Intuitive Tammy, lot going on today. I kind of feel like I want to talk, manifestation. The last couple of times, if you've watched, I've been like kind of circling around affirmations, manifestation. So, manifesting my trip and taking practical steps, right? Taking the leap that I have to. So I'll talk a little bit about that. But again, what are you manifesting? What are you working on? And I will get to your question. That's a great question. Like I said, that's why I mentioned it right away. A friend gave it to me. I'm not using it for depression. What I've heard, and I think what I've observed myself, though, because she gave it to me years ago, the friend who gave it to me said that in the first couple months of using it, she saw a noticeable difference, but then she felt like over time, she wouldn't necessarily say that it was working. My feeling on this, knowing her, and I think many of us, is probably you're literally supposed to sit with this. So, those sun lamps, like it's natural, it's supposed to be natural light, even though it looks kind of like white light to me, but it's official. You're supposed to sit there, I want to say, for like maybe an hour. So I just think my friend probably didn't sit with it long enough um, for depression. I'm literally using it to light my YouTube videos. So, and thank God, Goddess, not feeling particularly depressed, not feeling like the need to use it for that. So, yeah. Yeah, that, I don't know anything about the lamps. Do your research. Um, I know I'm not pro like infrared for like saunas and things. I'm not sold on that, Tammy, but I don't know about lamps for light for depression. Actually, I can talk to you about depression. There are things I would do that wouldn't, yeah, that wouldn't, the light wouldn't be the very first thing I would do. I mean, I would just get a regular high grade sun lamp that is rated well for seasonal affective disorder. Yeah, I would totally get that. I don't think they're that expensive relatively, but there are other things you could do for depression. And I will get back to that comment, okay? Because there's something there with that. But I was like, what do I talk about? And open the book, as I said, which is something called Bibliomancy, where you kind of, it doesn't have to be the Bible, but any book of truth and wisdom, and you open to a page. And that is something that I like to do. And that's what I got. We cannot change the wind, but we can adjust the sales. So how are you adjusting your sales to what life is giving you? We've got a inauguration, I believe, tomorrow that actually happens to coincide, right, with MLK Day. I am an introvert. I am sort of out of a lot of things, but I know that people are upset about that. It's just a rare confluence of contrasts and clashes. So, do something wonderful tomorrow. Yeah, do something wonderful. PNW. What does PNW stand for, my love? It makes me think of something. A lot of times because I was a college teacher, people will mention their college and they think it's super well known. I probably should know what you just said, but people will be like, "Oh, I went to such and such," and you're like, and they're talking about a school in like Tennessee or in Oregon, and you're like, you know. So you have to spell it out for me. I'm bad with abbreviations. But yeah, a confluence of. Anyway, I'm not going to talk about politics today. We don't need to put our energy there. In fact, that's what I'm talking about, right? We cannot change the wind. The wind, it's something that's happening through a series of factors, right? Whether it's wildfires, which of course we can have some effect upon, but whatever is happening, whether it's good or bad to us personally, remember it might be good to somebody else, strangely, right? Like the fires in California, as we know, some real estate developers, put that in quotes, are going to come in and they will try to make a killing, right? They'll try to make money. So for them, if that's all they're looking at, it might be a positive, right? People losing their homes or their lives, obviously not so much, right? So we cannot change the wind, but we can adjust the sails. Like, how can we steer depending on what we're given? Oh, Pacific Northwest, got you. Okay, yeah, thank you. Listen, my friend just told me, the same one with the depression, because I think we were talking about light. The town I live in gets more rain than Seattle and is more cloudy than London. And I was like, did I know that when I moved here? I don't think I did. So yeah, we have very dark winters. Honestly, that's probably why I even came on live. I was like, I have to do something more like just fun and creative and just not get down with the grayness of the day. It is 17 degrees. Tell me how cold it is where you are. What's the weather like where you are? It's 17 here, which is cold. I live in a region that gets cold in the winter, but 17 degrees. It's going to get down to 3 and 6 degrees. So I hope I have enough food. I'm going to make some lentil soup just to stay in balance with the seasons. So how are you adjusting your sales? Like, what are you working on? And Intuitive Tammy, sorry, I see it. Your very first comment. I didn't see that you live outside Seattle. Awesome. Mm-hmm. 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 Yes, awesome, awesome. Yep. A confluence of events. We know the orange one is upset that because somebody happened to die where the flags, Jimmy Carter died and the flags at half staff, and he's like, "Oh, they shouldn't be. It's bad for me, 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 me." Right? It's like, this is what we do when a president dies. So, yeah. Let's talk about that depression, Tammy, since again, like and it's by Aristotle, we cannot change the wind, but we can adjust the sails. So the wind is for you, Tammy, is that you are in a place that, yeah, is overcast a lot. It may not be, as you're probably figuring, may not be the best place for you. I don't know. Um, but we need a certain amount of light. The sun, it is healthy. It's for many of us really affects our moods. We didn't need studies to know this. I mean, maybe people had to do studies, but anyway. So for depression is often linked to the liver energy. Tammy, and so it's funny that you bring that up. If I were fighting depression, I've got a couple of questions for you, Intuitive Tammy. Do you exercise regularly, like 3 or 4 times a week? Do some sort of Not necessarily strength training, but something that's a little more aerobic, let me know. Let me know in the chat, and I can continue to talk to you about working with maybe seasonal affective disorder. Who else is here? Who else is here in the chat? Because I don't want to just make it about me, but I do have stuff to share. Continuing to manifest. How can we continue to manifest, right? There's a lot of negativity out there. There's a lot of fear around the world. Like the world is a little bit, when a new president and a new American president comes in, I think there's always attention paid, obviously, right? Around the world, markets around the world, businesses, everybody, immigrants, everybody's paying attention. This particular president coming in, I think there's a little more unsettled uncertainty, fears, concerns, just not knowing even. Maybe for businesses, tariffs, what's going to happen, who's going to be targeted. So it's a stressful time. So how are you guys? How are you doing emotionally? How are you doing emotionally? Let me know. And please allow a little bit of time in the chat, okay? Because I am using StreamYard, which you can see here in the corner. All right, and there's a delay of about a minute. So if you type something to me, if you type a comment live right now, give it a minute to get to me. So I had the question for Tammy, and for anyone, if you are feeling kind of down, the first thing, and if you were my client, the first thing I would do is ask you, Tammy, so let me know, you're manifesting a new home? That's perfect. But again, if someone were depressed or worried about it or just sad, not necessarily full depression, one of the first things I would say, as long as you spoke to your doctor and didn't have a health concern that you needed to modify, I would say start exercising like 3 or 4 times a week. And I would recommend African dance, actually, or anything, African dance, any sort of just active, fun type of movement. It could be, it could be belly dance. It could be tribal dance. It could be Zumba, which I never took, but was hugely popular back in the day. I don't know if it still is. Let me know. Is anybody still doing Zumba? Something that is very active, that is very stimulating, will absolutely lift your mood, Intuitive Tammy. So before going and, like I said, I would buy a good sun lamp. I would check in with you and ask you how many times a week are you doing some active movement, Tammy. So let me know if you want me to do some coaching here. I can. If you'd like to go further in that. And yes, Intuitive Tammy is manifesting a new home. That's beautiful. So what are you manifesting? Hi, Mel. Hey, welcome. Welcome. It's coming along well. So what I started with at the beginning, for those of you guys who do care, I think it's really sweet of you, and more people will come in on the replay. I started with a quote: "We cannot change the wind, but we can adjust our sails," right, to catch where it's going. So guys, against all odds, I have someone, because this is a weird time to rent an apartment, right? It's winter. It's the end of January going into February. It's kind of deep winter. School had already started, you guys, and I hadn't put my apartment up. I'm really going with the flow here, and I want to talk about that a little bit. I'm just going with the flow of what I'm being like led to do, and I'm really trusting. I want to talk more about that trust, like just it's the image that is on one of my cards is of somebody, they're like this, their arms are out like they're flying, and the card says trust, and it says take the leap, trust that you're going to land on like soft petals, you're going to be good, and it has like pink where it looks rosy, like where they're going to land, and it's a pretty clear blue sky, and they're just like flying like that. So I'm really having to do a lot of trust. So on that note, and I'm urging you to consider this as a spiritual being, out of the blue, and I even know some of my friends, they say they knew I could manifest it, but I found someone for my apartment. What that does is that frees me up to travel, obviously, because I'm not going to be having to pay rent here and then Airbnb there. And, I'm not double paying, because who wants to do that, right? So I have found someone to sublease my apartment. in the middle of winter. So I feel that's pretty special. And that is one example of my just trusting, right? Because I started to go a little bit into fear. Honestly, I started to get a little bit scared. And then what I did, and I hope this might help you. So this is what I did. Then I said, you know what? Even if you don't get anyone, how could it be okay? All right. So if you're having like Tammy, you're manifesting a house, just let some of this in because I may be talking directly for you. So even though my ideal would be, yes, I want somebody in the apartment, taking care of it, paying the rent, utilities, everything. If that doesn't happen, I said to myself, like quietly, how can it be okay? And I realized that, yeah, there were other options. They wouldn't be as ideal, but I was going to move forward in faith. And that's what I did. And so I have someone who is, interestingly enough, my specific type of apartment. They said to me, this is the exact, like I was looking for an apartment with this specific, these specifications, guys, and my apartment has it. So isn't that cool? And we're going to sign some stuff tomorrow. Okay. Then some other things on the other end of my trip. So I'm going, oh, Tammy, you asked, where am I going? I'm going to Great Britain. I should just say England because right now I'm not planning to go to like Wales or Ireland or Scotland. Um, it looks like just around England. I actually have a family member in England. Um, we'll see. There's a lot, like I said, I can't say everything out on the interwebs. So Intuitive Tammy, how tell me about your manifestation. You didn't respond with the question about movement and depression, so I'll leave that alone. But if anybody wants some coaching relative to their stress level, any physical symptoms they're having, do ask, okay? So Mel, yeah, it's coming along great. I had 2 people who wanted to take my cat. 2 people. Guys, this is not like a cute little kitten. Now, Percival is cute, okay? I don't want him to hear me. He's sitting on a chair. I can just see his ear peeking out. He's adorable, but he's a big boy. He's a long cat. And to find somebody who would foster a cat, without like putting him in the system, literally like, here's my cat. I can't take, I didn't want to do that, obviously, right? 2 different people were interested, and one I went with someone who's a little bit older, who is going to take care of him, who doesn't have other pets. So I got the animal taken care of. He's going to move in a couple days, and then I have somebody coming in. So I got a lot going on. Honestly, I have so many like books. My thing is the tenant coming in is like, "Oh, leave the books, leave the books." But I'm thinking, what do you guys think? I'm thinking that I should actually pack up my favorite books into 2 boxes. That's how minimal I'm trying to be. I want to, in terms of moving, um, slow matting, no matting. I'm thinking 2 books I could ship, like 2 boxes, I should say, 2 boxes of books. What do you guys think? So I'm thinking like 2 medium-sized boxes could probably literally hold, oh gosh, more than 20 books, like 40 books. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to look at potentially shipping. Hey, beautiful love. Hey, he got us. Welcome, welcome. We're talking about we cannot change the wind, but we can adjust our sails, right? So if the wind shifts, we shift. Again, more and more in this world, as I was saying, people coming into office, we've got climate disasters. I'm really strongly urging you, if you watch my channel, to think about how nimble you can be. Seriously, not just to, think about, is this a time to be rooted? And I don't think it is. The intuitive part of me is channeling this for you. I don't think it's a time to be stuck in any one way or stuck in any one thing. I'm not saying like don't buy a house necessarily because your situation is unique, but I'm saying to you guys like be like, I'm getting this like that helix, right? Like have some flexibility, have some ability to move, right? Move left, move right, where you're going to, and I don't necessarily mean physical movement, but have some flexibility, how you earn your money, um, what things are must have, what things are non-negotiable. Be flexible. Be flexible. That's what spirit is, telling me to share with you. So let me know what you think so far about what I've been sharing. Yeah, beautiful love, you want to move. So there's something about movement today. So I'm going to pull for you guys. So intuitive Tammy is trying to manifest a new home and will. Intuitive Tammy, what you need to do, and anyone else watching this, write down what you want. Write down, right, Mel? Right? We were talking about this last week. Write down what you want. What kind of house do you want, Intuitive Tammy? Like for me, I actually like small houses. I don't want to have a lot of space to deal with where things can get stored. And I just don't like a lot of clutter. And I joke, two of my dearest friends, and my friends are quirky, okay? I have quirky friends because I'm quirky. They are maximalists, that's being nice. Maximalists, let's just say, okay? Multiple things in a room. And I am a minimalist. Like right now, I'm sitting on my meditation cushion. I do not have a sofa in what would be my living room. I have a chair, right? Very minimal. And I have the rug. There's a rug. That was very important to me because I'm often on the floor, right? And I can do my yoga. So I'm a minimalist. And this is what I joke with them. I'm like, well, that's why we're friends, right? Because this is honest to God truth. I'll be like, oh, I can't find my hammer. They'll be like, we have 5. I'm like, of course you have 5 hammers. Can you find 5 hammers? No. They can find 2 hammers. Are you one of those people? Tell me, are you this maximalist or quasi hoarder? I'm just going to call it what it is. Quasi hoarder. I'll say to my friends, oh, I need, oh, one time my back was hurting me. I was like, I wish I had one of those massage chairs, the, the ones you like sit on a chair. They go, oh yeah, we have one of those. The next time they came over, they dropped it off. Like these people are a repository of things. And I'm like trying to get rid of things. So it's really hilarious. So we make really good friends. So share your comments. Are you a maximalist? Are you a minimalist? Beautiful love. Okay, that's not clear enough. Let's go through this then because I'm adjusting my sails. 2 of you want to manifest new housing. Beautiful love, you need to, what new state? What kind of state, beautiful love? Do you want to be in a warm climate like California in some places or Florida? Like, what do you want? Spirit to manifest. And yeah, I'm going to talk about manifestation. So that is where the wind is taking us. I have manifested things, even my friend now, with what I'm doing, with what they know, the behind the scenes, they're like, yeah, she can manifest. It works for her. The first thing in manifestation is, what do you want? Do you get some clarity on what you want? And that, I think, is the main reason folks can't desire. Okay, beautiful. So write this down, though. Get your pen, all right? Get yourself a pen or pencil. Somewhere warm, okay? I'm actually going to write this with you because then I keep the right pace. Somewhere warm. Do you mean warm all year round or warm just in the summer? Beautiful love. How big a place? Do you want a 3-bedroom? Do you want a 4-bedroom? How big is your family, right? Do you want a backyard for your family? Beautiful love. Intuitive Tammy, your new home, right? 2 of you happen to be here manifesting wanting a new home. I actually, honest to God, let me stop. The first thing I would do is get an image. I've told you guys, Mel, you may not know this. Now I'm going to give you the drawback too of manifesting. I literally cut out a picture. It had this type of roof, like a dormer roof. It was a sweet looking bedroom. I was like, that's like what I want. Guys, within about 3 months, I got it. This is how specific it was. I wrote, because I believe on a vision board, you images, but you also want to write. I said I wanted 3 minutes from a natural walking area. I swear to you. I said 3 minutes. That was wrong. Don't do that. Because I got exactly like the bed. I realized it after I moved in. The main room I was in, it was a small apartment. It was an attic apartment. It had this dormer ceiling, just like that. And I was like, oh my God. The wall color was different, you guys, but it was exactly like the image I had caught for my vision board. Exactly. And this is where it gets creepier. It was across the street. I wouldn't lie to you. Across the street from a walking area that was like, maybe 3 miles long. It was beautiful, that I literally don't think I knew existed because I wasn't in that part of town. So I got the apartment and it's like I'm moving in, and then somebody even said to me, "Oh, it's by such and such walking trail." I was like, "Oh, the walking trail I could have leapt off my porch and leapt if I could leap across the street." And that was what I had put on my vision board. So be clear, be specific. Be clear, be specific. Having said that, you need a little bit of openness. So I wouldn't say, for example, let me see what would be too specific. My 3 minutes was too specific because what it did, honest to God, I ended up in a house that had bats. What if I had said near to a walking trail, easily accessible to a walking trail? Do you see how that difference? Right? Because if I had said easily accessible, I could have been 1 block over in a beautiful apartment or 2 blocks over. But I literally said 3 minutes. I don't know where I pulled that, like 3 minutes. What is that? It wasn't even 5, it was 3 minutes. And literally across the street from the walking trail, the roof, the pitched roof, which, yeah, bats, they like that. And it became bat hell. Okay. So let's see what Mel. So Beautiful Love. Yeah, write this down. So Beautiful Love wants a 4 bedroom, somewhere warm. You have to be much more specific. I want you to vision Beautiful Love. You're in this place. What are the qualities? I mean, I have Virgo, a lot of Virgo in me. Okay, I will share that with you. I don't like to put out my birthday. Hey, glass half full. We're talking about manifesting. You have to have clarity. So, is there a backyard for both of you? I'm talking to Intuitive Tammy. Are you still here? Is there a backyard? Is it big enough for a swing set for kids, or is it fenced? Is it private? Right, like where I live, there are beautiful backyards, but some are open. I wouldn't like that. I don't want my neighbor just like, "Hey, how are you?" Yeah, I want a fence. I want a fence for. I don't want my neighbor to see me. I don't want to see my neighbor. Okay. Be very clear. Be clear. Ask for what you want. Ask for what you want. So Mel says, I was born in a house to a Nubian goddess who was always prepared for anything. The cupboards were always full, as were the toolbox, medicine chest, and bookshelves. Okay. Yeah. I am the opposite, but here's kind of the magic to it. And I just got this interesting feeling as I said that. Like, yes, that prepared, but there's another approach. It's also magical. I am the type, like I said, the same friends I'm talking about, they are like preppers. They're prepped, right? So I'm a minimalist, but I'm like, I'll be friends with, not deliberately, but you see what I'm saying? I keep it very lean. I am like very working with even more, honestly. Like I'm laughing about it, but I'm working more and more with trusting God, trusting spirit, trusting the universe. And it's working. So rather than being the one with like everything prepared, I trust that in that moment, what I need is going to appear. How does that hit you guys? Is that, because that's not everybody's approach. Most people would be like Mel is saying, yeah, prepared. I need to have this and this. I've got my kit for this. I have this, like some jars and stuff under here. They're stored. I have first aid. I have this. I have all of that. I have maybe some herbs, everything. I am more of the keep it light, keep it lean, keep it nimble as things happen. Those who will help you and who you can help will come. That's how I do it. So yes. So glass half full, chime in on this. Or do you happen to be looking? I think you are looking to move. Let me know, glass. I think you are. I think that in another chat I saw that. Okay. But I love that. Thank you for sharing that, Mel. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. Beautiful love, a new home in a new state, somewhere warm, 4 bedroom. Yep, I want to know more. What are the neighbors like? Are you close to parks, beautiful love? Is there a state park close by? Is there a very big park where maybe kids can go for a walk, they can safely play? Or is it out in the country? Is it rural? Like, What exactly do you want? Let yourself dream, you guys. Let yourself envision. Okay, so we're getting more. Now, it looks like Intuitive Tammy may not still be here, but Intuitive Tammy, I want to know what you're looking for. And then we can maybe do a little, put some energy behind it. But yeah, with a fence. Okay, you want a fence and you want to have a garden. Beautiful. Okay, now I'm getting a picture like in, listen, the universe, I do believe this, there's a mirror quality. I know you guys have watched videos, because if you watch my channel, you've watched videos talking about how the universe is a mirror. I hesitate to make that exact video because I think there's a mirror, but there's an intelligence. It's a mirrored intelligence, meaning if you're all about, for example, this is not me talking, but for example, oh, I don't know, I'm always abused. Men, I don't know, they always abuse me, and there was this, and that was that, and then that happened. As you speak it, and as you kind of, your energy is that, it like reflects back where you're coming from. And that can be very hard to break. So no blame in that. Because what that does, right? Can you guys see how, say someone who, well, say it's a woman. I mean, there are men being abused too. It is less, okay. But say there's a woman who's just abusive relationships, unhappy. The universe will confirm that because her energy is about that. The men she notices are about that. She may have a victim quality herself from being victimized, okay? So then the universe presents, because it's hearing, okay, like this is what this person's about. And then they're in this dance with somebody else who fits what they expect. And they're like, you see, it's true. Men are like this because that's who they always need. Yet maybe their cousin is happily married. The guy's not cheating. He's supportive. He takes care of his kids. Do you get what I'm saying? Give me a yes if you get what I'm saying. So there is definitely a mirror quality to the universe. I've seen it. Um, it just, like I said, it can be hard to see because it's not necessarily immediate, right? That we're being, it's like it's echoing back. It's like with an echo, right? If you're like, hello, hello, there's a gap, and then you hear it coming back to you, and you're like, oh, yeah, that's how the universe, it said hello. Well, you said hello, right? You said hello. It went across the canyon and it's bouncing back. Okay, I hope that makes sense. So beautiful love, this sounds great. You're getting clearer. Keep going. Write down what you want. Get some old magazines, go to a dentist's office, go to a doctor's office. Sometimes they'll just be like, can I take this magazine? I do that. I'm like, I'm taking this magazine. You guys have a lot of magazines. I'm going to take like two and I leave. Okay. So Glass Half Full says, yes, just this morning I confirmed my appointment. Yes. Yes, I'm so happy for you. I cannot afford Mexico. Okay. Mexico is getting bougie. Okay. So you guys, just let's give some positive energy to Glass Half Full. That is beautiful. Just this morning, I confirmed my appointment with the Mexican consulate and booked my travel. Wow. Okay. Is the appointment, is it in April? Is it here in the US, Glass, or is it in Mexico? It's here. But you said you booked your travel. March, April. Oh my, I'm so happy for you. That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Okay. Yep, yep. Okay, I'll just read it. I won't put it on the screen, but the appointment is okay. It's here in the US. The consulate has a good reputation. All right. So hoping, yes. Yes. All will go smoothly. All will go smoothly. Another tip I want to give you in manifesting, again, it can be difficult, but you can do this. You can do this. Do not focus on what you don't want. Our energy is very powerful. And many of you, I'm teaching about the chakras and stuff. That's one of the dangers is literally the more advanced you get, your energy for good or ill can become stronger. It's like instead of being like a flashlight, right? Like I have cheap flashlights, guys, and the batteries are always dying. And so it's like this light, it's kind of like, oh, versus being like a laser beam. So if you are a spiritual person watching this, I'm just saying to you, and not many people talk about this on YouTube, if you are a spiritual person, you've done a lot of spiritual practices, you notice that maybe you're intuitive, You have to be very careful to keep your mind positive, because as your mind gets more laser sharp, your negative can be more powerful as well. Okay. So glass half full. I'm so happy for you. All will go smoothly. And I will even, let's do an affirmation. Let's work on an affirmation for glass half full. Um, about her whole process, being able to transition to Mexico, whether for, little sabbatical or whether for a more long term. So, um, my transition goes beautifully. My transition to Mexico is filled with ease and grace. My transition to Mexico happens with ease and grace. You guys, come up with an affirmation. Put your brain to work, because in helping somebody else, you're going to train your brain and how to do it for yourself. Okay. Anybody else also who wants an affirmation for something they're working on? Glass, let me know if you like that. Another way. Okay. So how else could I put it? Because I just said it. I don't even remember what I said. Yeah. Visualize. Yes. And you know what I do? This is another manifestation tip. Picture after it's happened. So glass, after everything's gone smoothly, where will you be? You'll be walking out of the consulate, right? Maybe you'll have something in your hand, right? And you'll be like, yes. Picture that moment. Don't picture the pivotal moment. Because what I find, as someone who has manifested some really magical things, that may be a little nerve-wracking, maybe too fraught for you. Does that make sense? Right? It's almost like I'm saying, if it were a date and say you really want to meet your soulmate, don't picture the date. Picture like after. So the thing has already happened and it went well. I don't know. It seems like a little thing, but that's what I would do. That's what I would do is picture yourself walking out, or you're talking to a friend and you're like, oh my God, I was nervous, but it went so well. Oh my, yeah, I had to say a little bit in Spanish, like whatever, make up. Yeah, visualize it and feel it. Yes. Percival, you want to come over here? Yeah, I don't know if you guys heard him. He answers when I call him. Come here. Come here. Percival. Come here. Good boy. Come on. No? Okay. You don't want to be on camera? No? Not today? We didn't rehearse what your lines were? So now he's scratching, which is what you guys hear. Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah. I personally like to do the aftermath, where what I wanted has happened. I don't know, it's just easier. It's usually more relaxed. And you'll be picturing something joyful, right? So rather than trying to be right in the moment of like, they're like looking at you and they're like, huh, be like, oh yeah, that went so well. And then you're like sipping a cocktail, or you're having some tea, or you're telling your mom, or like you're like, oh yeah, so now I got this. So that is a real tip. Visualize the positive aftermath of what you want. Yes. Good. Beautiful love. I think you're ready for manifesting your move. For you, what is holding you back, beautiful love? Because you've been a member of my community. You've taken things with me. What do you think is holding you back? Let's talk about that. And let's see if we can get an affirmation for you. Remember, we're going to adjust our sails. We can't control the wind. The wind is government. The wind is, at this point, climate change, natural disasters. What we can do is adjust our sails. I think that's the world we're going to be in. All right. I'm not trying to fearmonger. That's why I'm always telling you guys, you need to start meditating daily. All right. I'm saying that to myself as well. I'm on a streak, so I'm feeling pretty good. Get your intuition up so that it's like what they said, like the ear to the ground, right? Because it's like there's horses or like a herd of animals stampeding way off, but your ear is to the ground so you can hear it way before other people. Okay, fear of the unknown. All right, beautiful love. So what I would do, let's make an affirmation for her. Okay. Mel, do you want to help and make an affirmation? And Intuitive Tammy, if you're here, if you're just joining, we're talking about adjusting as life. I put as life gives us curves, right? You're driving and then there's a curve and you have to swerve, right? You have to flow with it. All right. So let me come up with something for you. Fear of the unknown. Every day, in every way, I am becoming braver and braver. I don't love that one. Let me work on it. Um, what I think we need to know, beautiful love, and what you need to know is the unknown. I think you know what you're afraid of. Are you afraid of going homeless? Are you afraid of not being able to afford the rent? Are you afraid of moving into a neighborhood that you don't like your neighbors? What specifically are you afraid of? What specifically are you afraid of? Okay. And then make your affirmation. Yeah, make your affirmation targeted and make more than one. Okay. Make more than one. So this is how you can work with manifesting. Get very clear. Number one, what do you want? Let yourself dream. You do not ever need to know how the manifestation happens. She just says yes. She said yes twice. I don't know which one. All right. You don't have to know the how. That you leave that to God. You leave that to a higher power. You do not have to know that. Everybody says this. This is absolutely true. When I have manifested 2 years of free graduate school, when I manifested acceptance to a program I wanted to get into, separate program, very competitive. I don't know the how. I just know what it is I desire. Okay. And I get excited about it. And for me, I get a visual. So what I'm talking about is I got into a very good art program. It was many years ago. It was extremely competitive. If I remember right, I got pictures of the sites, the location, and I would just look at it. This was before I knew anything about visualization. I would just look at the pictures and like, oh man, look at that lake, right? It's got this. I was like, oh, that looks so beautiful. And I would look at it over and over and over. Okay, okay, yep, I nailed it, right? You see, I'm intuitive. Not affording the rent, the neighbors, and being right. Okay, so what I would do, beautiful love, is go step by step, make one affirmation for each at first. So you say, I easily pay my rent, or I pay my rent with ease. I find surprising ways to manifest money. You see how I'm leaving it open, right? Maybe it's a grant. Maybe you do a little side hustle. Maybe you take in a child into your home that you do a little daycare with, one or two kids, maybe, so I'm leaving it open. So um, something about affording the rent is her first one. Guys, in the comments, go ahead and see if can you make some affirmations for her to help shift her mindset and shift her energy, because it is true. Maybe in the past you've had these difficulties. I totally hear you. um, the past does not have to be the future. It does not have to be the future. If you can shift, right? If you can shift your energy, and not just your energy, what will then happen is the world will start to confirm. Somebody will say to you, wow, could you come in just a couple hours a week and help me out with this thing? And you'd be like, oh, yeah, I can do that. Or could you even just do this for me from your house? I just need somebody to like open my emails and respond to people. I'll pay you cash. You could be like, yes, right? So yeah, so picture the neighbors you want. They're kind, not bigoted. If you want them to mind their business, they mind their business. If you want them to be caring, they're caring neighbors. I have wonderful neighbors. I'm friends with several of them. They look out for me and my safety. They watch in the neighborhood. You see what I'm doing? Take your fear and flip it. Yeah, take your fear and flip it. So let's see. Hey, calmly replied. Let's see. Let me stop talking and see what you guys want to share here. There's a difference between wishing and manifesting, right? That's a good question. I don't agree with everybody on YouTube. Some people on YouTube are just, one, I do not believe we're 100% responsible for what I think that's BS. I've not seen that in my life. I have not read anybody that I'd say is credible who says that. We don't control everything, right? Some of these people are like, manifest $500,000 in 24 hours. I'm like, right. No. So there are conditions we are in, okay? Meaning, I'm in this country, I'm in the United States. If I were in Papua New Guinea, that's a different reality. If I were in Tanzania, that's a different reality than Papua New Guinea. If I'm in France, that's a different reality. If I was born in 1900 in a particular country, hey, stop it. That's a different reality, right? So we have our reality that we're in, and then it's how do we work with it, okay? And I do think we have this reality for a variety of reasons. I'm not even going to try to touch that because I think it can be challenging. I don't think we always know why we're in a situation. We could be in a very bad situation. Maybe you're in a place that's hit by famine, right? We see that. Or you're in a place that's hit by wildfires. Okay, so that is, again, for the Aristotle quote, we cannot change the wind, right? That's the event, but we can adjust our sails. We can adjust our sails. Okay, the wind has shifted, right? Look at America, the wind is shifting. The wind is shifting. It's always been a certain way. There's always been like an underlying this going on, right? But now you feel like, oh, the wind's shifting and there's still another wind. There's still a counter wind. So like, what's going to happen, right? It's pretty deep. So wishing and manifesting are, I would say they're different. Wishing is completely passive. Manifesting, I truly believe we're in co-creation. So a tsunami may come. I didn't cause the tsunami. There may be some karmic reason I'm there, and sometimes the society has karma, right? If you happen to be Jewish or gay in World War II in, Hitler's Germany, you were in this bigger container, and as you guys know, some people got out, some people didn't, right? Some people escaped, some people didn't. All right. Again, that ear to the ground. So I think there's some co-creation. I don't know what percentage is. Like they're gonna be BSing you if you don't know what percentage is. You were able to, get out, but it was like, do you have 5% control? Do you have 20% control? I think we're in co-creation. So yeah, I think they're different. They're very different. Wishing is like, I really want this, it'd be so great. Like I wish a lot too. Manifesting has a more direct energy. I don't want to use myself, but I knew there was a desire I had, and I'm like, I want this, and then I started to take action. I listened, I meditate. Many of you, it could be prayer. Getting quiet is very important. You hear the next step. Okay, now why don't you try this? And you try that, and then you're one step more forward, and then you're like, I don't know where to go. I'm right here. I don't know where to go. My goal is here. You hear another, okay, go, and you go here, and you're like, oh, I'm closer, right? That's how it works. That's how it works. Most of us are not quiet enough to hear the whispers of spirit. We are not quiet enough because it's usually very quiet. It's that still small voice, and we'll hear it like beautiful love. I'm sure she's hearing things she could do, but she's like, oh, I can't do that. I don't have enough money to do that. Or I don't have a car, so I can't do that. But maybe you know somebody with a car, or maybe you could rent a car, or there's a car share. I always give this example. When I was in grad school, there were Chinese students who were from China. They were not Chinese American. Four of them bought a car, you guys. And I had never heard of that. I'm like, and they weren't friends. Four of them who didn't know each other were like, let's pool our money and let's get a car. And then they sold it when they were going back to China. I was like, really? I was impressed because it was different. I hadn't seen anybody do that. I hadn't grown up necessarily hearing like with my parents to do that. And I know many cultures would do that. It's more communal. So I'm just saying, don't write yourself off that you can't do the thing. Keep trying to do it and stay open. Oh, wait, maybe I could volunteer. And if I volunteer, then blah, blah, blah happens, or I get a credit, or they do this. Stay open. Yeah, stay open. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mel says, the gift of my life is the superpowers I have in this moment. The present is what I can control, and the future will work out for me in beautiful ways I could never comprehend. Nice. That's a nice one. The gift of my life is the superpowers I have in this moment. The present is what I can control, and the future will work out for me in beautiful ways I could never comprehend. Louise Hay, who built, again, I think she came from like working to middle class, maybe. She founded a huge publishing house called Hay House. Many of you have heard of it. It survived her. She's passed away now. Um, One of her affirmations that I really love was, only good lies before me. So she said, it doesn't matter what it is. I was like, wow, that's really deep. Meaning, I'm sure even as she was very, very old and she knew she was going to pass away, do you see how it still works? She's like, only good lies before me. So the afterlife, everything, only good lies before me. I love that. I'm going to put that in the chat actually. The fact that I can remember it means I love it, because this was one of her main ones. She said, only good lies before me. So she didn't worry about anything because it was this deep trust that it was going to be good, whatever it was. And it was going to be for her good. For her good. Does that make sense? This is a deep trust. Not everybody's necessarily there yet. I suppose the language that most people understand is just wishing. Yes, yes. I've been watching, you guys. I will share this. I've been watching a lot of NDEs. Does anybody NDEs? Near death experiences. Many of them very different. One guy was an engineer, you guys. Oh my God, his near death experience was like so convoluted. Like he saw this like machine. He was mechanically inclined, and his near death experience was very like, I don't know, just different. But it had the same themes, the themes of the sense of unity, overwhelming love. We're here to learn. We're here to grow. We're not here to like be mean to people. We're not here to hate. We're not here to fight. So I've been watching a lot of those, and it's been fascinating. Again, people see different things. Oh, this color, but there are certain things that are constant. And the one I would say more, there's the tunnel thing, and a lot of them, they're like, yep, I'm out of my body. I can see my body. I can hear people in the room, what they're saying, and I'm supposed to be in a coma, and I can tell you what they wore, right? So are any of you guys into that, into near-death experiences? Because I don't know, I'm just being drawn to watch these, finding very interesting. Very interesting. So only good lies before me. Let's see. Calmly replied, says a lot of useful information might be obsolete. We are in a different space time now. Absolutely. But tell me what you mean. What do you mean, calmly replied, in terms of what are you speaking about? I think truly useful information, wisdom information is never obsolete. So that wouldn't be information. What I'm talking about is wisdom. In that it wouldn't be obsolete. But yes, information absolutely can be obsolete. Absolutely, yeah. Glass half full says, your mother had an NDE. Yeah. Wow. I would be. Did she share it with you, Glass? She told you like the details? And was it comforting to her? Can you tell us that? I'd be really curious to know. So near-death experiences, you guys, there's at least 3 big channels that I found. One I like more than the other, but where people just share their near-death experiences. And it's really fascinating, really fascinating. And like I said, they all have certain similarities. hmm Um, a lot of it is our evolution. um, I'll share what I mean. One guy, I think he was Indian. He just like trash talked himself. He's like, I was just living a crap life. He was just about drugs, getting drunk, getting as many women as he could. He was just partying. He was depressive. He blamed he's like, I just, you know, his own words. He's like, I just sucked. Had his near death experience, changed his whole life, changed his whole. He can now see himself. He's like, I was just still blaming everybody. It was everybody's fault. He went basically drunk driving, this guy, this near death experience. And he was still blaming everybody. He got in the car. He had been drinking, crashed the car, and he was watching the ambulance come get him. They're like, oh, he's not going to make it, the whole 9 yards. And But yeah, he changed his whole way of being into basically like if he's telling the truth, into a better person. The details of the common experience. Okay, yeah. There's often the sense of going into a tunnel and being pulled, being moved. You guys, my friend who passed away, right, my best friend. I told you people thought we were brother sister. Close to the time of his death, one of the things that he said to me, and it's one thing I feel good about in terms of how I was able to help him at that point, because I, when you lose a loved one, you always think of I coulda, what I coulda, shoulda. One thing that I did do that I feel good about is he told me, he's like, Viv, I'm floating up out of my body. He's like, I'm up by the ceiling. And I was like, what? Let me turn my light on, guys. Let me turn my light back on. So yeah, like I said, my dear friend, like I could like, if he had a headache, I would feel it. We were that close. I'd be like, "Are you having a headache?" Because I don't usually get headaches, but now I have a headache. He's like, "Yeah, yeah." He's like, "I'm floating up by the ceiling. I can like," and he was freaking out a little bit, and I just talked to him, and my thought was, yeah, he's getting ready to journey, right? He's getting ready to separate from his physical body, right? His spirit, because he's like, yeah. And he's like, I can't come back down. I can't come back down. I'm like, okay. And I knew, you guys, that it wouldn't be good for him to panic about it, right? Obviously, right? So I was like, actually forgot what I told him, but I said something like, oh, it's probably, it's just like astral travel. You're just, I didn't say to him, yeah, I think you're separating from your body, in preparation for passing on. But I said something that he could relate to more. And I said, you're just in a spiritual realm. I think it's like, and he actually said to me, thank you so much. He's like, I feel calmer about it. I feel better about it. And he passed, I would say, fairly soon after. It might have been a little more than a week, but and of course, the doctors, what do the doctors say? Oh, it's the medication. And he also was seeing people. He was like, oh, things are moving, and maybe the medication would have some effect, but he was definitely in transition. What are doctors going to say? They were just like, yeah, it's probably, it's medication, yada, yada. It's making you, that's what he told me they were telling him. But I was like, no, and you're going up out of your body. I don't think it's a medication. No. So, yeah. Yep. Let's go through some of your questions. Manifesting through your word concept that are old and do not explain the new reality. Manifesting through your word concept that are old and do not explain the. Okay, so what is the new reality? Tell me what it is you're saying that, or that you think is, like, share what your insight is. Because there's sentences I'm not actually able to totally understand, because calmly replied, you're not replying with really full sentences. And I didn't know the word concept. Yeah, I'm just not following. Sorry. Yeah, and if it doesn't work for you, it doesn't work for you. Not here to convince you of anything. If it's not, doesn't resonate with you. If what you're doing resonates and works, then that's fine. Nothing I am saying, though, is information in that sense of, I think that's a very common thing, especially if one is young. We feel like, oh, there's new information, new information. A lot of things are actually repetitive. They may appear new, but they may repeat an old pattern, um, which may be good, may be bad. But yeah, glass half full. She's talking about her mom having an NDE. She now feels very calm about her future and when this comes up upon her again. All right. Everybody does. Everybody, it seems like with their NDE, they're like, I'm so peaceful. I'm okay. I get it. I get why we're here. There's definitely this greater being. It's just love. It was beyond anything I could imagine. Yeah. So I'm really glad. She feels very calm about her future. Yeah. She said that she moved beyond her body into the light twice. And when she was sent back, the ER staff told her she had flatlined twice. Wow. Yeah. hmm hmm I mean, clearly, if you've ever been in a room with someone who has died, right? Some like it's hard to explain because it just sounds so stupid. Something is gone. Like, yeah, life has left. It has gone. Where did it go though? Is the thing, right? Where did it go? Um, Went back to oneness, right? That is so great. Okay. In the fourth and fifth dimension. Okay. Say more. Type more if you're able. So I try not to get super theoretical about it too. So I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I've heard that. It's like, okay, this is this, and we're going, certainly, we are absolutely evolving. Absolutely. I do believe, actually, to kind of wrap up what I was saying, um, in the same way that some now are still living a very, maybe a peaceful reality, maybe an opulent reality, while others might be starving and suffering. And I think there will, and that's the people who are using the terms dimensions, which I don't use those terms, but um, I think there will be, and I think some will continue to live lives where maybe they're happy, they're peaceful. Not to make it totally about escapism though, because I think many people who may want some sort of dimensional, oh, we're going to this other dimension, it's not that it's not okay to want to escape, but I think that if depending where we end up, I think it's going to have a lot to do with our evolution, how the planet evolves, and that maybe we are here not to just escape into enlightenment. A friend who was really, really brilliant said this to me like decades ago. He said, maybe it's not to like escape and go into enlightenment and into the light, but to actually bring the light, the spirituality, godlike qualities down to the earth, if that makes sense. So rather than wanting to go up and away, what about being fully embodied and actually maybe like some ancient societies, making the planet itself like a paradise again by our own evolution, our own peacefulness, our own connectedness, our own compassion, and kind of recreating a more I hate to, maybe I won't use the word Edenic, like an Eden, but without the woman getting the blame for everything. Yeah, I think I understand what you're saying. Yeah. Um, Word knowledge, right. Well, words are limiting. Yeah, words are definitely limited. I was talking to a friend of mine who was Tibetan, who was a monk, and that was what we talked about a little bit. He said, the things, almost like he said, the things that are real, right? And I'm trying to put them in words. He's like, you cannot put them in words. They're not, words do not fully convey, they cannot by definition convey like the reality. Yeah, yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. No, you don't necessarily have to move. No, 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 no. So, Kamali, I don't know when you came in. No, no, no. I never said you have to move location in order to comprehend the new world. Though, as my personal opinion, um, as a spiritual teacher, I think that for some people, depending on your lineage, depending why you're here, some locations might be better for you. Meaning you may be in, Lubbock, Texas, and not even because of the people, but the land itself, the energy there may not suit you as well as being, maybe near the redwood forest in California. Um, I do think people can resonate with different lands, even potentially different cultures. Maybe someone is going to thrive in Crete or Mykonos, where they won't thrive if they're in Chicago. Yeah. So, and that may not be everybody, because most people are living pretty mundane lives where they are only concerned about like a survival level. And so this may not apply to them, but for many people in my community, many people who are more sensitive or more tuned in, um, changing location, certainly on the superficial level, can have a profound impact. It could change your whole life. But for some people, maybe they're almost like it's almost like they're a gem and they activate. I like this analogy. Yeah. They activate when they're plugged into a certain part of the planet. So maybe they need to be in Madeira in Spain, right? And when they're there, when their feet are on that soil, for whatever reason, it could be heritage, it could be past lives, soul family they're supposed to meet, they blossom. So I've definitely seen that. Yeah, definitely seen that. So, guys, I hope this was helpful. Just a little bit checking in again with this idea of you can't change the wind. We cannot change the wind. This is Aristotle. We cannot change the wind, but we can adjust the sails. Just the idea behind it. Um, some would say maybe we can change the wind, right? So maybe we can change the wind, but you get the point of it. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, glass half full. Yeah. I do think it's like that. Like I'm hearing more and more. I mean, obviously, right? We knew that the earth has gemstones because a lot of us, we collect crystals and so forth. But to my point, some parts of the planet, there's some place, someone was saying in Mexico, where there's supposed to be a lot of rose quartz in the earth. And I'm like, oh, that would be so interesting. That rose quartz, that's going to give a different vibration, right? And so maybe that's what the pull is. But yeah, I do believe um, people who might be sensitive, there's a place they can be where it's like they literally plug in. There's definitely that. I've seen that and it's pretty cool. Yeah, beautiful love. Write it down, write it down, write it down. Thank you, Glass Half Full, for saying that. And yeah, I think I'm going to continue. I have so much to do, you guys. So the person who's coming to stay in my place, I'm not putting all my stuff away, right? It's a sublet, but I want to pack up a lot of my stuff. I'm cleaning, I'm throwing stuff out, right? So it's welcoming, right? Again, for when you want to manifest, you always have to create space for the new thing to come in. So I'm working on that. Um, I made a separate list for getting the cat ready. Um, there's a lot of different things. But again, what I want you to take away from this is having a sense of trust that if you want to live a particular type of lifestyle where I think this is part of where we're evolving. It's kind of the idea is almost like, thy will be done, but that will that's not yours also has your best interest as well. So I'm not getting that it's a sacrifice. It's like when we let ourselves flow with the river of life. That's what I'm saying, like flow, right? When we flow with that magic, that energy that wants to move us to our highest good, to the reason that we're here, to our gifts, flow with that, but it does take some trust, right? So that's why I was saying like glass half full, but totally you're flowing, beautiful love, like trust, Yeah. Oh, you are packing. That's awesome. So you're getting ready. All right. So even if you don't quite know yet where you're going exactly, you can start packing. That's what shows the faith. That's what shows the trust, right? So by taking that act of packing, throwing things out, as what is her name? Marie Kondo says, does it bring you joy, right? Or is it just old? Maybe you paid a lot for it, but it's too small for you. Just fold it up, give it to somebody. Give it to somebody who's going to love it. Um, yeah. And then you're telling the universe, yeah, I'm ready. I really am ready. And I actually want to show you guys. I got a card today. Hold on. Percy, can you move, sweetie? Thank you. He had his big old body right where I wanted to. So I pull cards for the week. And I pull a series of cards and ask for further explanation it's basically an expression of my intuition. And this is one of the these two were together. These are two of the best tarot cards. In terms of getting what you desire, I got the Nine of Cups. This is generally known as the wish fulfillment card. And I got it, interestingly, with the Hierophant. The Hierophant is, at first I was like, is it something to do with teaching? But the Hierophant, because you guys know I've taught, it's really my major profession is always teaching this, in traditional subjects, the subjects that have a long, like, structural history. Got this and got some other good things, letting go of conditioning. Another card, Spirit of Isis, Triumph of the Goddess, which is that you will succeed. Don't give up. And so, like I said, just today wrapped it up. Like something is going to happen tomorrow, but like, okay, this is set. The apartment is taken off your hands. Yeah, you got rid of everything. Okay, well, don't get rid of everything. I might need your help, beautiful love, because like I said, I have a lot of books and it's hard for me to throw out books. And I'm saying, like I said, I'm saying to myself, okay, Viv, pack up 2 boxes of books. And then if you are, decide to stay abroad and it works with your goals and with how you're presented with, then you can get it sent. 2 boxes shouldn't be too expensive. And 2 boxes is probably a lot of books. 2 boxes is also heavy though. I'm like, why are books so heavy? So I think that may be what I work on the next couple of days, is just clearing more space for my person who's coming in to care for this space that I've lived in for, several years, lived in, loved, put my energy into. And that way I'm making space for them. And then my stuff is in a box where I could say to a friend, hey, those 2 boxes, they marked it with like red ink. Send me those, I want to have those books about spirituality or shiatsu or whatever. So that's what I'm really thinking of doing. Before I close, guys, I want to mention that I'm actually taking, it's great, Rashida Dow and Stephanie Perry's program. It's just a quick 1-week program, and it's called How to Get Your Next 3 Clients, because I want to learn more about how to attract clients who I can help. And so it's really good. We had our first day today. And so on that note, I just want to say to any of you, if you specifically know, mostly women come to me as my clients, but someone who's struggling with toxic stress, where it's affecting their health, they're having physical symptoms, they're having emotional symptoms, things like insomnia, they're having menstrual problems, they're having irritable bowel, like their body is speaking to them that they're stressed, then I do offer coaching. I don't talk about it as much. I'm going to talk about it more regularly. Hey, if you're just joining. And I just want to mention the name, what I currently call it. You guys know I've taught like Soulful. I call it Soulful Mindfulness. That's my group meditation program. Basically, what I do is working one-on-one. It can be male, female, anybody. For one-on-one, I'm open to working with anyone who is, high vibration, spiritual person. And what I'm doing is, for clients, I have a very in-depth quiz that they can take, and I find out what is their energetic imbalance based on the 5-element theory of energetic flow. It's related to the chakras, and from there, I then come up with a plan to help them. But again, things that are relatively easy to work with are things like insomnia, digestive issues, menstrual issues can be a little bit harder, and we could do some lifestyle stuff as well. And I combine that with teaching them how to meditate and how to do relaxation. So basically it's to get their stress level down. So if you know anyone who is dealing with really toxic levels of stress, hi Goddess BMW. Yeah, what can't you stomach? Often the illness is metaphorical. It's a real illness. I'm not saying it's not real, but the body, the illness itself will show the conflict. Like somebody has a stiff neck, right? It's like, what's the pain in the neck? What is the pain in the neck, right? So, is there something you're having trouble stomaching? Is there something that you literally are having trouble digesting that's happening in your life? Something you can't take, if that makes sense. Something that's hard for you to assimilate and take in. The stomach is kind of showing that. Um, I would say really work with your gut microbiome, getting in more fiber slowly. There's a whole, process to that because you can over fiber yourself or you're just more constipated, and it's problematic. But I would start with just some plain yogurt. That's not, that shouldn't cause a problem. Just to get some good bacteria in there. And then the bacteria apparently really do like the fiber, non-soluble and soluble fiber. Basically, just a healthy, predominantly plant-based diet. Doesn't have to be 100% vegan or vegetarian necessarily, but just, healthy diet. We have, you guys, I see a lot of comments coming in now. I was at Aldi's. I wanted to buy some fruit, mandarin oranges. They look beautiful, right? Fruit in America always look beautiful. We don't bring it to the store if it's not pretty. I read the label though. These are oranges again, right? One ingredient, right? Should be, right? Orange. Read the label and it said coated for protection and transformation. And you guys, or transportation, it listed like three things that I'm pretty sure are not just bad chemicals. I know that's like simplistic. Like my language is usually better than that, but just like some long ass names. And I'm like, why? It wasn't just like wax. It wasn't anything that you could really be like, oh, I get it. It was like some blah 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 blah. I'm like, it's coated and all of that, and it's like it's preserved. And I'm like, well, if I peel it, has has it seeped in? I basically put the bag down. I put the bag back down. So I was watching Rashida Dow on her channel today, and she was interviewing a woman who is in Paris now. Again, confirming this over and over. When you buy food in some of these countries, the food goes bad because it's not preserved, right? She literally bought something that was jarred that in America would last months. She's like, I think at like 3 weeks, it was starting to go bad. And she's like, but this is like a jar. I had it in the fridge. It's just not preserved. So I put the mandarin oranges down because I'm like, oh, I didn't want to eat like poly such and such sorbate, whatever it was. I just wanted what is supposed to be in an orange. And I was kind of upset. I was like, what, like, how can I just get decent food? How can I get simple, plain food into my body for my health and my well-being? And these companies are like, we have to transport it. And so we're going to like dip it. And like I said, it wasn't just wax. It wasn't like petrolatum, which like stuff, like, oh, okay, I can wash that off. So it was just disturbing. Oh, okay. Let me go back up to your comments because, of course, now the numbers are really high. Got rid of everything. Goddess BMW says hi. Yes. Okay, you're sleeping. Ooh, you're sleeping in your car. It's me. I'm not brushing my teeth. It sounds like, have you gone into your community? I don't know where you are because not all these states are good, but there might be, a good shelter system where you could get some support, Goddess BMW. Oh, you're welcome, Valerie E. Yeah, go back. Because I've been on for like over an hour now, Valerie. Thank you for saying that. I really appreciate it. A lot of people say that. They're like, it's your energy. I'm like, oh, thank you. So, Goddess BMW, yeah, if you have that level of stress, if you're in your car right now and it's not, planned, right? But we know that's stressful. Yeah, I'm so sorry. Sounds like you're going through a lot there. Let me see. Let me put this up. I feel like I'm great at flowing. I've reached the top of financial abundance, but right now I'm disconnected from my soulmate and it's stressing me out so bad. Goddess BMW, if you've reached the top of financial abundance, why are you in your car? Why are you sleeping in your car? Maybe I misunderstood. You're like literally just taking a nap in your car? Beautiful Love says thyroid. And so I'm going to, Goddess, if you want to, share more, you can. Your soulmate and you are connecting, but we can't connect physically. Right. I'm so sick of my reality. I'm sleeping in my car. I can't shower, no place to put my bed. So that sounds very contradictory to what you're saying here, right? You're saying one thing here. And again, not to get too metaphysical on this seems more like a, root chakra stuff. You're saying that, but you're saying you're at the top of financial abundance, but you're just, yeah. So it doesn't make sense. If you were at the top of financial abundance, you wouldn't be in your car. And you can't take a shower, no place to put your bed. Yeah. Okay. Um, no, they're not overwhelming. It's just confusing. You're saying one thing. I mean, and what I started to say is spirit might get confused. But I think our soul always knows what is happening. But yeah, if it sounds like you're saying your abundance is fine, but yet you're sleeping in your car. So I'm just saying that is not, yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. That can happen. Yeah. Depression and ADD. Yep. I have seen that. I have seen that. Okay. Yeah. Well, absolutely. You'd feel grateful for your car. I used to watch, you guys, I may want to watch him. I like all different people. I'm not one of those people who are like, oh, I only watch this type of person. I like humans. And as long as they're not like nasty or mean or depraved people. And this guy, his name is Bob. Some of you know him. This man saved so many people. Guys, when I wanted to live in a van, and it was to save money, I knew I couldn't live in a car. But I even at one point, those of you who really follow me know, remember I got my little minivan? I couldn't afford a full van, but I got a minivan. And his name is Bob, and he looks like Santa Claus. Okay. If you picture a white Santa Claus, he looks like Santa Claus. Okay. And really kind man. And he has people who live in their car and he shows you how they do it and live in vans, live in all different types of things, live in trucks. It's a fascinating channel. Any of you know what channel am I talking about? RV. Is it called RV Living? It's but it's not always RVs. Anyway, but for Goddess, yeah, I would look for help. I mean, I know a lot of times shelters in many states, I know they may not feel secure sometimes, is what I've heard. Um, Obviously, a friend, if you can have a friend who can help you, would be the best, right? Before going. Yeah, Beautiful Love says she's having thyroid issues. Yup, that's some of the stuff in our food. I am very familiar with that. That is happening, right? The throat chakra, right, has to do with purification. That's its thing, very much about the quality of our food and what we're taking in. So Beautiful Love, yeah, right? You don't have to get organic, but maybe more fruits and vegetables, more green veggies. They're very cleansing. But yeah, and follow your doctor with the thyroid, whether you're going to have to take something or I mean, sometimes there are simple operations to help normalize the thyroid. Sometimes it could be sea vegetables, right? Which you're probably not eating because most people don't eat sea vegetables, right? But a lot of times they can be helpful for the thyroid. So look into that, all right? Let's keep going. Yeah, glass half full. So what I'm offering, okay, and I know, I've taught on a lot of different things, but right at this moment, I'm really focusing on helping people who are dealing with a lot of stress. And so toxic levels of stress, because I think that they're the most likely to want help. Because if you're feeling bad, you'll be like, okay, I need help. Um, so I have a 3-session coaching package where I teach some mindfulness practices, meditation, and relaxation. Teach you how to do it one-on-one. And I also, depending on your physical condition, I just want to be sure you can't read this. This is actually from one of my clients, and their signature is just a scrawl. But I have a form. This is for clients where I ask you just different things that you're having, and then from that tells me which element is out of whack. This is related to acupuncture, and I'll teach you specific points related to that to bring yourself back into balance. So I call it the mindful meridian method. Okay. Basically, just what you can do. I'm very minimalist, as I mentioned before, with things. So I can even recommend some herbal compounds, but basically, I'm going to teach you some self massage and meditation and mindfulness practices to get your stress under control. I have 2 levels right now. I have a 3 package, and I have the full session is 8. And you can find it at my website. Let me just put my website up. Thank you for asking. I am also very interested, as someone who is traveling a little bit and, you know, maybe moving abroad, um, right? I think that creates a lot of stress for us. Obviously, that's a huge transition to pick up your life. And so, what I'm looking at too, and I do this over the internet, right? And it's private. We meet, you filled out your form. I know about you. I know about your stress. I know if you're having migraine headaches or what are you having? Um, what emotions are you having? And then I just craft a practice for you. So it's customized. So the link is in the chat in theflowofmagic.com. And if you go under one-on-one, so the 2 things are private meditation, wellness coaching. That's one, or in chakra energy healing. The chakra energy healing is something that I was aware that I could shift people's energy years ago, but I wasn't really sure what to do with it or how to work with it. But basically, it is I tune into the person's chakras. This is a different service, and this is more for you're stuck, right? You're stuck, and you want to kind of shift out of a rut. Is what I'm getting that it's to help people with. But basically, it's been women all so far. They are able to feel. It's like a distance energy healing or like a distance Reiki. And so they're like, oh, I felt this or I felt that while you were working. And so that is also on the page under one-on-one. That's the chakra energy healing. That's like 1 session at a time. The coaching with what I'm calling the mindful meridian method, which is my own, like I said, I put those 2 things together, mindfulness and the meridians, the acupressure points. The minimum is 3 sessions. Okay. Because I mean, 1 session at a time, how much can I really help you? It's like getting your teeth cleaned once and never going back. Not good. Not a good look. Yeah, not a good look. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah. I mean, it sounds like you're in crisis mode. Um, and so I literally would say the same thing. In your car, if you can turn your heat on, if you need it, maybe maybe you're in a warm place, and just meditate. And you'll figure out what is your next thing to do. Maybe you literally get a job at the next place you drive into. You see it says, oh, it's an Aldi's. Oh, we want people to work. We're paying 17 an hour. Maybe you sleep in their parking lot and you start working at the Aldi's. Goddess BMW. And then you have a job, and you can work it from there. But so yeah, meditation for anything, that listening, I think, is really key, and getting all tuned in, like fine tuned. Um, yeah. Vanessa says, hang in there, Goddess BMW, and answer the phone if you can. The universe is sending you a lifeline. Please pick it up. Okay. That's from Vanessa H. I know it is pretty cool to be live. I agree. Yeah. Yeah. And do you have any family that could help, Goddess? Not all of us do. Some family, and my throat is getting dry. Some family could even know what you're going through, and even if they could help, they may not. So, I know even if you do have family, it doesn't necessarily mean they're gonna be able to help. Maybe they feel they can't. Maybe they have kids and they're like, I can't, you know. It's hard to know. It's hard to know. Yeah, it's hard to know. But yeah, reach out to family, and I would go in and try to get some services somewhere. Find your local social services um, agency and just be like, look, honestly, I think it's better if you're in the town you lived in. I only say that because they're like, oh, did you go homeless in this town? This is our town. They'll be like, okay, maybe I can get you temporarily in a shelter and then get you on some Section 8 housing or something, right? So, but like I said, if you're able to live in your car, you are a survivor. And I've watched people on YouTube who live in their car and are going to work, which is really sad, right? Nobody should be working and yet have to live in their car. Like you actually have a job, you're contributing, and you still can't afford like a solid place, if you want, which most people do, right? But there have been people who've done it who are like, I'm in my car. I shower at the gym, right? They joined. There's a gym that's like $10 a month. BMW. I can't remember, what is it? Crunch. You guys help me out. It's not Crunch. Maybe it is Crunch. You go in, you take a shower, right? I did that years ago. Years ago, I wasn't homeless. I was renting when I was running my yoga studio, and then I'm going to go. I have done wild things. I'm just really remembering this. When I ran my yoga studio, it was a commercial building. It didn't have a shower. I joined a gym. And in New York City, there are also some low-cost municipal gyms that, in fact, I think I would see some homeless people, but a lot of the people weren't homeless. I'd go shower there. I was able to cook in the back of the yoga studio, or I'd get food, but there was a shower, right? And of course, there was a bathroom. So there was a toilet, there was a sink, but there was no place to shower. And so, yeah, I would go in. I think I did that for 2 years. I did that up until 9/11, guys. And then at 9/11, because my yoga studio was in New York City, people dropped off. Everybody was scared. And so I closed my studio soon after 9/11 happened. But yeah, for at least a year, I was like living in the commercial space without a bathroom, without a real kitchen, trying to run my yoga studio. So you have to be creative. You do have to be creative. I was much younger. Okay, Goddess says it's her family is causing her the stress. Oh, Vanessa. If you were my client, I would research it more and I'd want to know more. But lupus is it's autoimmune. So I have two recommendations for you. Oh gosh, oh my God, you must do this. There's a woman on here. Her name is something Goldner. She's a doctor. I think it's Goldner, and she has a book. Get it from your library, called Goodbye Lupus. I'm so glad you asked. Goodbye Lupus. She is a Western doctor. I'm not even sending you anybody woo-woo. She had lupus. Vanessa, she had lupus herself. If you hear her talk, it'll blow your mind. The woman suffered so much, even through the medical system, because she went to medical school while she was needing like injections and treatments, and then she passed out during, she's looking at somebody else like as a doctor, and then she collapses, and her family survived the Holocaust. She's just like, I'm just happy to be alive. But check her out. Dr. Goldner, I believe is her name. She has a book called Goodbye Lupus. And her thing, I know it is weird. It's mostly, she does a lot of what she calls hypernourishment. Genuinely, she has people saying, oh my God, you have helped me. And she cured her own lupus. They told her, Vanessa, you cannot have a child. If you have a child, you will die. Having the child, bearing the child, is going to pull your immune system down. She met her love of her life. He's like a nutritionist. He put her on this program. I want to say it took about 1.5 years. They're like, we're not finding lupus symptoms. Vanessa, they literally are like, you don't have lupus. So then she got pregnant and they're like, oh. So they sent her to like a specialist because she had lupus. The specialist like, you don't have lupus. I'm not going to work with you. You don't have lupus. She's like, no, I do. They're like, I have to come to you. She's like, well, you can't come to me because you have no signs of lupus anymore. She had 2 beautiful boys. Wait, it says no sound? She has two beautiful boys. And Bev, yeah, can you guys hear me? Bev is saying there's no sound, and I'm not muted. Anyway, so Vanessa, check that. If you can, come to me for, like I said, it's 3 sessions. Lupus, so she does dietary. Um, the meridian that might have an impact for you is called the triple heater meridian, which has to do with the immune system, but I would need to know a lot more of what you're having. I also, and actually primarily, you need to get your stress under control, because I'm going to just guess, Vanessa, is your stress level high? Now, it may be chronic for you where you're just like, oh no, it's just normal. But I suspect if you have lupus, that you've been under like a more long-term stress. And so again, what I teaching Percival staring into space, I'm like, oh, what is it? I would teach you how to do relaxation and mindfulness meditation to get your stress level down, your cortisol down. And obviously, the sicker you are, the more intensive an intervention, along with seeing your doctor. But if you catch something early, it's always better. So yeah, check out my website and check out this Dr. Goldner. She does a lot with smoothies, but they're very, very specific. So they're not just fruit smoothies at all. They're mostly vegetable smoothies. Like I said, she calls it hyper nourishment. And I just really trust her because she's first did it on herself. And like I said, had 2 babies when they were like, you will not have children. She has no signs of lupus anymore. And this is like, at least, I'm just trying to think of how old her boy is. It's at least 15, 20 years later. The lupus has not come back. And now she teaches this. So at least get her book. Yeah. Beautiful Love is sending you just nice ashe, namaste to Goddess. All right. The things come around for you. Yeah, Bev, you're the only one who's saying no sound, my love. You said mute, so I think you've muted your computer. Yeah. Vanessa says, yes, currently higher than average. So Vanessa, if you are a professional woman, I mean, if you are able to get coaching, here, let me give you the exact, because I'm going to be talking about it more. And I even, here, I don't know if it's necessary to mention that. I started another channel because I think that this one I'm going to keep talking more spiritual stuff. The other one is going to be more for those who are stressed and have high stress professions. So Vanessa, I just put in the chat the link to what I'm talking about. Yeah. I would have to find out more about what you're going through, but I absolutely could help you get your stress level under control. Very likely you've had chronic stress that, contributed to, that's what happened to me. I was a professor. I left academia diagnosed with PTSD, with depression, with anxiety, but it was the PTSD that I was like, okay, this is my therapist. She's telling me, I didn't diagnose myself. She's like, you have PTSD. And so I left academia, even though I had tenure. Tenure is a job for life. Okay. I walked away from a job for life because my work environment was so toxic. Funny enough, as I'm thinking about you, Vanessa, my two best girlfriends there, both Black women, had health issues, and one of them had lupus. And this was before I was doing any of this stuff. I went over to her house. I was doing a little bit. And I just did a relaxation with her. And it seems simple to me what I did with her. I set her up the right way on the cushions. And she's like, oh my God, this feels so good. Because this hard driving, work, like we are in the US, and she's pushing and pushing and pushing, but her body was breaking down. And so I led her through a guided relaxation. And at the end, she's like, oh my God, that was so wonderful. She was like, you could see she was relaxed, right? And so I do that now at a distance. Like, yeah, I can't, it costs a lot more if I came to your house. But anyway, she was my friend. We were in the same town. But that was a little taste of what it is that I'm like, that's my gift. And so yeah, I'm definitely looking for clients. If you guys know someone, oh Bev, now you can hear me. If you guys know someone who's, you know, um, dealing with what I call toxic levels of stress, send them my way, especially if they're interested in a spiritual holistic solution. If they're not, um, then now it doesn't mean you can't be on medications, but they have to be someone who is wanting something natural, wanting something where they get back some sense of control, right? I don't want to have to necessarily convince them. Yeah, you know, clearly someone who realizes their life might be out of balance also. Because unless we really say, you know what, this level of stress is not sustainable, right? It's plastic. It's not. We got to stop with the plastic. It's just not sustainable. I can't keep going like this. If they don't realize that, then I don't know if they'll do the practices I teach. Um, yeah, yeah. So, Bev, hello, hello. Yeah, did you figure out? Had you muted? You had muted. Hmm. Hmm. Yep. Yep. And also, if you're struggling with homelessness, um, get some mental health support. Get all kinds of support that you can. Um, it's important. When I nearly went homeless, last thing after leaving teaching, that's how depressed I was. That's how down I was. So I went from like professor to like, I'm going to be homeless. This is bad, right? Um, a friend took me in and I was able to get myself back on my feet by staying with them. It was my best friend though. It wasn't somebody random. So I'm going to just close with just settling in for a little bit, getting our energy peaceful. Take a nice deep breath in with me. Exhale. Let's inhale, bring the palms together. Up over your head, so my palms are touching. Exhale, bring your hands right down through your midline. So it's like a gesture of collecting, right? Collecting all our thoughts, anything scattered. Inhale, open your arms. Palms come up. They touch over your head. Exhale right through the midline down to your heart chakra. Deep breath in and out. The thumbs pressing into the thymus gland here. Again, last time, inhale, open your arms. Breathe in, breathe in, breathe in, breathe in. And now let's exhale. Turn your palms facing out and sweep your arms back down. Just clearing your aura, clearing the space. Let's do one more time. Inhale. Sweep your arms up, touch them overhead. Exhale. Lower them down by your side. And just letting go of anything that is not yours, any energy that is not yours. In fact, let's shake our wrists like that. Shake it off. So we can have compassion for others, but let's not take in their energy, especially if it would harm us in any way, so that we can stay clear, so that we can be a help to others, to our loved ones. So like shake your fingers like you're shaking off any stress. All right. Om. Shanti. 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 Om. Peace with ourselves, peace with the forces around us, peace with all beings. Namaste. Have a beautiful evening. Have a great week. And I should have a video Wednesday or Thursday for you. Check my Queen affirmation. That can be something nice. I think that's just 2 videos ago. Queen affirmations, and you kind of visualization. Check that out if you need to shift your mood. All right. Bye, beautiful love. Bye, glass half full. Bye, Bev. Bye, Vanessa. Percival's stalking me, so I gotta go feed him. Who else? Bye, goddess. Let's see who else commented. Calmly and intuitive. All right. Mwah. Ciao. Okay, Percival. Yes.